As part of the planning process, you'll need to consider what your technical security architecture is going to look like. So, what is the technical security architecture? It is an organizational plan for technical countermeasures and how they are organized into a complete system of protection. So, think of it as your blueprint, but for your security side of things. So, what elements exist as part of this technical security architecture? Well, first, we are going to have a border management to restrict access to our internal network. This is going to have a firewall, and then anyone that's going to connect through the web is going to hit this firewall before even touching anything inside our network. Inside of our organization, we're going to have what is called a demilitarized zone, as you can see with all the servers inside of that circle. So, for example, you'd have a web server here to be able to access a web application. You'd have Honeypot, that yellow server there, that looks like legitimate data, but essentially all it does is capture and track behaviors of hackers or other unauthorized individuals that gain access to this so that we can determine how we need to better protect real data that exists in our network. From there, we have an internal firewall that's going to shield any connection inside of our intranet. An intranet is basically a term that refers to all the computers and servers and devices that are within an organizational network. Another thing that we need to consider as part of this architecture is remote management. So, allowing individuals to gain access to the network using VPNs. Additionally, some companies interact with other companies with the same kind of environment. And this is called interorganizational management. So we need to have a way for us to communicate with our partners so that we can transact and do what we need to be able to have efficient business processes without compromising security. We have seen incident after incident throughout history where a third party has been the reason for compromise on an organizational network. So this is vital to make sure that this is secure. So one thing to consider is to have essential security management. This is going to allow you to increase the speed of actions, but reduce the cost of actions because everything is managed centrally within one location. So all it takes is for one person to push out updates and it goes to all the computers, or one person to push out firewalls and those firewall rules are pushed out to all computers and devices. So the key principles of a technical security architecture include first, defense in depth. So defense in depth means that we have multiple layers that people have to get through before they can gain access to a resource that we want to protect. So if one countermeasure fails, we are still safe because there are multiple layers. Another thing to consider is weakest links. So even though we have defense in depth, if we have one weak link that allows an individual to bypass all these defenses that we have in place to gain direct access, we need to make sure that we handle that and protect against that from ever happening. Another principle of the technical security architecture is to avoid single points of vulnerability. It could be that someone is able to gain access because an employee didn't behave properly by installing or downloading pirated software that allowed a backdoor entry into the network, etc. Additionally, we need to minimize the security burdens of our employees. This means that we need to talk to them about why security is important to ensure that we foster a positive outlook on security among our organizational employees. And finally, we need realistic goals. Realistic goals cannot necessarily change the protection level outright, but it allows us to think about what we could do to mature as quickly as possible. Maybe we can't do everything all at once, but if we set goals to do one piece at a time, as we have budgets that allow us to do so, this can ensure that we securely protect our organizational data and resources. Thanks for watching my video. Feel free to click the links here to watch the next video of the playlist, continue to the next playlist, or subscribe.